Oh, actions like pausing your music should never be too far away, just in case. Android has offered a lot of ways to do that. Lock screen controls, media controls for notifications, Android Wear, and even Android Auto, to name a few. How does your audio app get started with all this goodness? It's simple with MediaSessionCompat, a single API available via the Android support library that does much of the work of integrating with Android for you. I'm Ian Lake, and I'll go over what MediaSessionCompat is and how you can get started on getting your media metadata and controls everywhere. Think of a media session as the public face of your media playback. No matter if you're playing audio, video, or even remotely via Google Cast, unless you tell the system what you're doing, it can't help you. And it gives you a lot of ways to help you if you publish metadata, such as album art and artist name, and tell it what media controls, such as play and pause, you support. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's just create a MediaSessionCompat object to start. Alas, on Android versions prior to Lollipop, this requires one preliminary step, creating what we call a media button receiver. This is what captures media controls from things like Bluetooth headsets and Android Wear and delivers them to your app on devices below Android 5.0. It's a simple broadcast receiver you register in your manifest like this and translates the key event you receive into actions for your app, generally just delegating the actual pause and play commands to the service actually controlling your media playback. Check out our training docs for an example. Okay, finally, a MediaSessionCompat. You'll need a context, any string to serve as a debugging tag, and the component name of your media button receiver. The last null is a pending intent you can use instead of the component name on Android 4.3. It is created for us if we pass null, and that's usually the right thing to do. Now, we probably want to do three things before going any farther. Set the appropriate flags to say we actually have media button controls and want those media button events sent to our app. Next, we'll want to set a callback. This is where Lollipop and higher devices will get callbacks to on play, on pause, and others when a button is pressed. Finally, set the session to active when you're ready to play something. This is the cue to the system to route media buttons and other controls to your app. Okay, so the plumbing is set up and ready, but we never actually tell our media session anything about our media playback. How will it know what is playing or what controls we support? The first part is handled by MediaSessionCompat. It uses a builder pattern where you just add all the information you have, then call set metadata on your media session. But still no media controls. It's because we haven't done the other part, publishing a playback state. Playback state compat actually has two purposes. The current state, such as playing or paused or buffering, set via its set state method, and the current action, such as stop or pause or play pause, set via its set actions method. It contains both because usually the actions change at the same time as the state. A stop state probably doesn't have a pause action, for example. And that's enough to get MediaSessionCompat working. You'll find integrated media and Bluetooth buttons for all API 8 and higher devices, and lock screen controls for Ice Cream Sandwich, Jelly Bean, and Kit Kat devices. You'll also find that MediaSessionCompat works great with NotificationCompat media style, part of the AppCompat support library, giving you great-looking media notifications on all API levels, even including inline media controls on API 14 and higher devices. Just remember to call setMediaSession with a special unique media session token from your media session. This is what connects your media session to Android Wear and gives you media controls on Wear for Android 5.0 and higher. Oh, don't forget to call release when you're all done with your media session. Really, don't forget. We've only touched on the basics of MediaSessionCompat. We haven't talked about media browsers or media controllers or a whole host of things built on top of MediaSession. But this should get you started and make your media playback information and playback controls available everywhere it can be. I'm looking forward to seeing your awesome media app using MediaSessionCompat, and I hope it helps you build better apps. And release.